That's all right.
All right. How's that?
Boom. Are we in? Are we back?
I'm in. You in?
Yes.
Cool. You got a wonky Wi-Fi? What's going on over there?
I was on the wrong Wi-Fi network because I'm a rookie, but I think I fixed it.
I was in the wrong meeting, so there you go.
What a day.
Oh, you know what it is? Let me ask you a question. When's the last time, business-wise, not sports, not football, nothing like that? Oh, hang on.
Nice way to preface that.
Yep. Hang on. Let me start my Facebook Live real quick. Then I'll ask the question.
I'm so excited by this question already, just by the way.
You'll know why in 30 seconds. The Facebook Live post is Adam and I help you sell more stuff. How's that?
Hey, fucking love it.
All right, here we go. Let's see if I can do this. There's got to be a better way to do this Facebook Live, but that's all right. For right now, it is what it is.
Story of my life,
right? Just try it until something works. All right. I think that's okay. All right. So my question to you is, putting football aside.
And all other major sports, I'm assuming.
And all other major sports.
Okay.
When was the last time in your office you were so angry you could spit nails?
Ooh. I don't think that I've ever been that mad here.
When's the last time somebody did something that was so unethical you couldn't wait to eject them out of your life?
It's happened this year.
All right, so I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
I'm going to remove the names to protect the innocent. And you tell me if I'm not overreacting. You tell me what your reaction would be.
Okay.
So I have a client, wonderful clients. They've been some of my longest tenured clients. They're just good. They're just good people.
Yep.
And they met this person at, we'll call it a craft fair, is what we'll call it. And she came up to their booth and said, "I love what you guys do. I love your products, the people. I would love to explore opportunities to do business with you." Okay. She goes, "I'm going to bring a group of I'm going to bring a group of our salespeople down to your establishment to see how we can explore these opportunities."
Okay.
All right. Now, so as the business consultant, guess what we talk about on 2 calls leading up to this meeting? We talk about how we're going to maximize the opportunities when these salespeople come into your establishment, right? That's my job. So we spend 2 full hours talking about these opportunities and how we're going to structure. We put together a sales deck, a presentation, this whole thing. Then they spend 2 hours. The salespeople come into the property. They spend 2 hours in their establishment. And they say, "This is phenomenal. We're going to be doing a ton of business together. We see a lot of opportunity." So we have another phone call after the opportunity, and they say, "Okay, let's talk about the opportunities now." My client goes, "Let's talk about what we're going to do. Let's talk business at this point." So they email them, and they say, we want to use your products at this. I got to be careful. We want to use your products at this function, talking specific stuff. So my clients and I put together a proposal and say, here's how we think our products are going to be best fit in what you do. So the one person, the original contact person, says, I have to check with my boss and get this signed off on. Great, no problem. We get an email back this week that says, here are our sponsorship opportunities for you to be involved with our business in a strategic way. There are different levels of strategic opportunities for my clients to write them a check to donate to their business. And here's where it gets good. Once you get into those sponsorship levels, here's what you get to do. You get the opportunity to donate more product to our salespeople to give you exposure, and you get unlimited lunch and learns with all of our salespeople.
Yeah. So I have a good feeling what you're talking about. That would get the quickest, hardest no from me, maybe in the history of humankind.
I'm shaking. I'm shaking.
The fact you checked every box there, not you, they did. You wasted somebody's time.
Bingo.
You probably a good amount of time. You were at the very least poor communicating. At the worst, just intentionally misleading.
Yep.
And third, you clearly have zero interest in anything but your own well-being.
Yep.
So that to me, that organization, let's call it.
Yep.
Just wrote in big capital bold letters that they are a losing player and probably do not deserve another minute of your time or a dollar of your money.
You're 100% correct. And here's the worst part is that this tells me that they aren't good enough at what they sell.
Yep.
That they have to get sponsorship opportunities to pay their bills. So they'd rather have their salespeople going out baiting and switching people into sponsorship opportunities instead of being better at what they do and sell their core competencies. That is what they're telling me. So I just had as you can tell, I just had this phone call this morning, and I said, okay, here's what we need to learn from this. Number one, we need to control the message better. We need to know what we're getting into before we get into. We need to ask better questions. Set better expectations. Number two, moving forward, we need to control the message. That's what we have to do. So how we're going to control that message is we're not going to allow somebody to walk into our establishment, waste everybody's time, myself included. And I think that's one of the reasons I'm so fired up, because I waste 0 minutes a day. When you waste everybody's time like that, now I want to go on the offensive. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take that opportunity. We're going to flip it around into a one-page sales deck. And we're going to take what we've learned and sell it to everybody else, every other organization in that area that these people are trying to sell in.
Yeah, it's like, so we actually just came from a meeting ourselves, polar opposite, because what we did, it was actually, I was on the other side of the table.
Yep.
It was a new client pitch for us, and it went really good. And we left, I'm like, these are our kind of people. Like, I feel good about this. And the whole reason why is we literally did the opposite of what just happened.
Yep.
Rather than trying to schedule something under false pretenses of, hey, let's work together, AKA, how much money can you give me?
Yep.
It was, hey, here's exactly what we do. Here's exactly how we do it. Here's what it costs. If you think that makes sense, like, awesome, right? I think that I'm getting annoyed for you.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to bring it down this fast, but I'm just like, I have to get this off my chest, or my blood pressure is going to go through the roof for the rest of the afternoon.
Yeah, I think that, I mean, props to you guys for turning that into a positive. You know what I mean? Because at the very least, it showed some level of value that you could create that isn't being produced. Like, that's awesome. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean, geez, man, if you want to write How Not to Sell Stuff 101, that's That's it.
And that's the takeaway. And this is what I told my client. I said, they checked so many boxes wrong. And this is the takeaway for me is the fact, this is the bottom line that I told them. I said, they are selling the opportunity for us to get access to their salespeople. Here's what I would do if I wanted to get access to all of those 100 salespeople. I would go on LinkedIn. I would search all of those people by that industry. I would do a 7-second video, and I would say, "Hey, Adam, who works for, Mitsubishi of Binghamton. Hey, Adam, we have a brand new exclusive program for car dealerships in Binghamton. Do you mind if I send you a 1-page sales deck?"
You're doing a great job hiding the industry, by the way. I just want to
Man, this is really hard. This is really hard to do. If you know, first you have to figure out what you're selling. That is the number one thing you have to do. Figure out what you're selling. Once you figure out what you're selling, don't waste people's time that you want to sell it to.
Yep.
Find those people. Say, I provide a service or a good or service. You can only sell 2 things.
Yep.
Good or service. This is what I sell. Do you have an interest in buying that thing? Yes or no. In the meantime, let me waste 4 hours of your time thinking that I'm going to buy something from you. Meanwhile, I'm selling you.
Yep. Well, I think you hit on it. And so, like, in my previous career, you see this 100 times. And whatever, it boils down to insecurity.
Yes.
I'm so scared of asking you to buy what I'm selling for whatever reason. I don't believe in it. It's too expensive. I don't have confidence in myself. Whatever. I don't think that you're going to say yes when I ask this.
Yep.
So what can I do in my head that I think is building a relationship where if we talk about enough other stuff long enough, you're going to like me so much that you're just going to buy it anyway, rather than just being upfront about it and having confidence to either A, navigate your way through the sale, or B, realize that that person's not a good fit and then move on to the next person on the list. And I think that's really what it boils down to, where it's a lack of confidence in self, in product, or both.
But can you imagine having the gall of being the person that is the ringleader of this group, sending salespeople out to make relationships on false pretenses, knowing that you're going to do a bait and switch at the end? Can you imagine how confident or stupid does that person have to be to trying to build a business that you are purposely sending people out there to do a bait and switch like this? I can't even wrap my brain around that.
Well, because I think that, unfortunately, there's a lot of times where, especially in sales organizations or even sales departments, a lot of times, over a long stretch of time, your top salespeople eventually graduate to leadership positions.
Yep.
Unfortunately, being a great salesperson does not make you a great sales manager.
Yep.
I think a lot of times, rather than investing the time and the energy to how do I actually teach these people? How do I lead them? How do I help them be better?
Yep.
It's easier short term to say, rather than let me help my team get better at selling these 100 people, let's put together this 2-cent cheap package and just sling it at 1,000. Your end numbers are the same, but your reputation is way, way, way down here. So that's the thing. I just don't think they care. A lot of these people, and I have just based on all their stuff, I have a decent idea what I think you're talking about. And I think that's just the case. I don't think they give a shit about relationships. I don't think they give a shit about helping people. I don't think they give a shit about anything other than hitting their February numbers.
Ugh.
I'll deal with March's numbers when I get to March. I'll deal with August when I get to August. Right now, what are we going to do for February? And if we're pacing behind for February 14th, fuck it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And then that's kind of unfortunately how that mentality works. And they just think it's a numbers game, and they don't realize that everybody thinks we're a joke now.
Right.
Not everybody is going to be as nice and as diplomatic as you and completely change the name and industry of that organization. Everybody else is going to basically like, can you fucking believe these clowns? And you'll be like, I know, same thing. And then you're dead. It's over. You could rewrite your entire process 6 months from now, and no one's going to give you the time of day.
Yep.
Because you made such a horrendous impression over here.
And that was the takeaway from my client. My client was so upset. I told him, I said, we need to learn from this. We need to go on the offensive, and we need to go find better opportunities. And he goes, you know what? They're probably all like that. And I go, nope, they're not. They're not. Not in this industry, not in this town, not even in that same office. There's got to be somebody there, or somebody in that, that pillar of industry that does not have that kind of attitude.
Yep.
I guarantee it. Because if you think that way, you're dead. Then you're never going to start again. You're never going to start again. You're never going to restart the engine. You're never going to reach back out. You're not going to make the cold call. You're not going to make the LinkedIn video. You're not going to do any of the things that we try to do on a daily basis. So you have to isolate it. You have to isolate the incident, get over it as much as you can. And that's the thing. You have to learn from it. You have to turn it into a positive so that you can get better with your next sales pitch, or you get better with your next, your next presentation, or your next email, or your next call, or whatever it is.
Yeah. And I think so much of the way that you guys are attacking that is just entrepreneurial DNA 101.
Yeah.
I know I get that way. If we have a client and I lose a client for a reason that, I think is dumb, I don't agree with, they just made a bad decision.
Yep.
I know I get ridiculously competitive. Like, I'm going to go work with one of your competitors and show them exactly what you should have been doing and that you're going to miss out on.
Yep.
And then you're going to call me back 6 months from now and be like, sorry.
Yep.
And is that the most healthy way to approach that? Maybe, maybe not. Mm-hmm. But in a business world, like, it works, because it's like anything, whether it's business, whether it's life, whether it's friendships, whether it's relationships, every bad ending is an opportunity to learn and be better on the next one.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And so I think that's really cool where, fuck these guys, but if it opens a door where, like, we can take the first 80% of that conversation that we thought we were signing up for,
yep,
build a package, and then drop it over here.
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, now we're working with something.
Right.
And I think that's, call it sales, call it finding a way to actually create and demonstrate value.
Yep.
That's what it's about.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I couldn't believe it. I was reading the email yesterday, and I couldn't believe what I was reading when they came back and said, no, it's going to be sponsorship opportunities for you. And it was like, you know me, I'm not speechless very often, but I was. You get that little ping in your heart, and it's just like, whoa, like, is that really what you're asking right now?
You read the email 7 times to make sure you didn't misread it.
I was like, holy smokes. I couldn't believe it. So we just had our breakup phone call this morning with that opportunity. So
it's always hard to do, especially on Valentine's Day.
So I didn't mean to do whatever. I appreciate you letting me vent, but that was exactly what was going on at the moment that I hit open Zoom. So
that was good. That was gold.
It's just it's crazy. All right, your turn.
Yeah. So I don't know. We've had a very interesting week where, and I was talking about it a lot, because the older I get and the deeper I get into this, it's weird. You just gravitate to more people that are like you.
Yep.
And just some of the conversations that I've been having, and I don't know if it's serendipity. I don't know if it's luck. I don't know if it's just the environment that I'm in here, but so many other business owners and entrepreneurs are in a very similar spot as us right now, where like we've been good for a long time. I think about the stuff that I used to worry about year one, and it's so different now. It's like, shit, can we make pay? Like, you know what I mean? Like, can I pay myself? Like, so.
Yep.
But the one thing that we're really running into now is so much stuff that was opportunity or potential 3 months ago.
Yep.
Is reality today. And in a lot of ways, like some people always tell you, like, failing isn't the scary part.
Yep.
By nature, we're supposed to fail.
Right.
80, 90, whatever percent of businesses fail. What happens when you really don't know what to do is when success happens, and it happens a lot. Because everybody's first reaction is like, well, that's awesome. You should be happy. And you are happy and you are excited, but it's like, is our system been pressure tested to the point where I know I can handle a 30% increase in client base?
Yep.
It's like, weird to say out loud, but like, and just thinking about that a lot, and how there are so much more books written on how not to fail than how to succeed.
Yep.
How to scale and how to grow. Because we talked a little bit about it last week. You build a business by scaling the unscalable, like we always say. But then what happens when you have to scale it?
Right.
And some of that stops being an option. And it's been a lot of fun to have those conversations and see how other people approach it and see how their mindset is different than mine sometimes.
Yep.
Because I sometimes can just default into like an overly stubborn, I'm just going to run through this wall.
Yep.
Whatever it takes to do that. And then, is that the right move? Is it not? So it's just, I don't know. It's been a very fun, but very introspective time where it's just like, you're kind of getting into like more of like big league decisions.
Yep. And that's, by the way, just from my point of view, you can run through brick walls until you're 42 years old. Then you can't run through brick walls anymore.
Is the line at 42? Is that when it started?
It's around 42. Trust me. No, but that's the thing. That's how I prided myself in my career, is literally putting all of my problems on my shoulders and running headfirst through a brick wall.
Yep.
Just straight brute force. And I'm learning on a daily basis that is as you get older, less and less and less likely, because number one, there's only so much you can put on your shoulders. Number two, it really starts to hurt your head when you keep running through brick walls. And then you start to learn that, so this is what I would call this. This is what I tell my clients all the time. Don't be afraid of that success, but don't be afraid if you go to zero.
Right.
And that's the really, really hard part. I had a conversation with a friend this week who he was in a career change. And me, of course, I'm like, go do this and go get sponsorships and go, sponsorships the right way, by the way, the right way, by providing equal value. But I said, go do this, go make money doing this, and you can do it by working from home, and you can check all the boxes that you want. And he goes, I'm just not wired that way. I said, what way? He goes, I can't operate without a safety net. I said, fair enough. Then don't operate without a safety net. I'm not saying that this is for everybody. But what I told him, I said him and with everybody else, I go, run parallel paths. It's the same thing as if you're doing a beverage business and you only have enough cash to scale up to 500 cases. Like, that is your number. You are tapped out. You have nothing else in the bank. You've mortgaged stuff. You've done everything. I can only get to 500 cases. But in the meantime, everybody's only looking towards that next raise or that next run to get to okay, I need to sell 500 cases so I get enough cash to go make 500 more cases. But what people tend to forget is if the right person, if the right piece of content I had a great conversation with Mark Evans from VaynerMedia yesterday. I had an awesome conversation with him. He goes, every piece of content that you put out is a lottery ticket.
Yep.
Every single thing that you put out is a lottery ticket. He goes, if the right person sees your tweet or your Instagram story or this video or whatever it is, they can completely blow your phone up and you can go on a hockey stick curve like this.
Yep.
So when I say run parallel paths is, yes, sell 500 cases so that you can go pay for another 500 cases. But as an entrepreneur, you have to be ready to build that infrastructure if that hockey stick curve happens. So for me, what I tell people is, yeah, if you need to talk to your banker and get a larger line of credit or whatever it is that you have to do in case somebody says, I want 10,000 cases, but it's not just the money. It's making sure that you're with the right co-packer that can do the canning. You have to make sure that your flavor house can scale to 10,000 cases. You have to make sure that you can buy enough cardboard, that the cardboard manufacturer can produce enough. All of those things have to be in place. And that's what I think what you're thinking about is, and talking about is, yeah, 30% more in clients. But if somebody sees this video and says, okay, we have financial planners. Let's say the CEO of Morgan Stanley watches your video and he goes, I really like this vibe that this guy's giving off. I have 5,000 people that I want you to coach. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
Or if not impossible.
Yeah.
So I call it parallel paths and use the 80-20 rule, use the 90-10, rule, whatever it is. But if somebody walks in your door and says, I want all day, every day, I need you, how are those other clients going to be serviced at a level that they're used to? That's a really hard concept.
Yeah. And it's something that's like another thing that I think about a lot is because you're not just building new stuff, is you have some people have been with us for 5 years now. And how do you, on one hand, maintain all that so they are getting that same amount of love and that same amount of attention that they're used to, but at the same time, how are you constantly looking at their stuff and think, okay, the stuff that we put in their plan, even last year, is that still what they need to be doing today?
Right.
Especially just with what we do, it changes so much, so often, so quickly, that you really have to kind of be dialed in all the time. Like I literally was here last night and I wrote like 3 TikTok ideas on my whiteboard in the conference room that I'm not sitting today because it's fucking freezing back there because it's 90 outside, but it's whatever. So I don't know. That's just fun. It's really fun for me, but it's a little overwhelming at the same time.
Yep.
And it's weird because I don't get overwhelmed a lot, but and it's weird to be overwhelmed with like positive stuff.
Yep.
We were at a meeting / party at a client's earlier this week, and like everybody's like asking me like, hey, you okay? Like, hey, you're quiet. Like, what's going on? And like in my head, I'm just like, yeah, there's 19 million things rolling through my brain. So, and then that's the other thing too, is that you got to think like, well, fuck, how is all this shit affecting life out there?
Yep.
Now there's, 8 people that are thinking that like, oh man, is Adam okay? Should I check on him and all that? Like, when in reality, you have to be cognizant of that as the CEO of business over here, but then just regular guy, friend, brother out here, where you have to communicate.
Yep.
It looks like I'm stressed, but like in reality, like I'm good. Like don't worry. Like that's the other thing I've been thinking a lot about is, am I doing enough to communicate what's going on in this building and in my head to everybody else out there?
Yep. Because
you affect people so much and you don't realize it. So, and it kind of stems off what we talked about last week. We talk about how our internal stuff and keeping stuff bottled and it affects you as an individual.
Yep.
But then at the same time, how is it affecting people around you? Where it's relatively easy for me, you know what I mean? But like, I think about you a lot too. Like I think if I had a wife and 2 kids, could I do what I'm doing now? Which I definitely couldn't time-wise. Like sure. I am so obnoxiously selfish with my time right now.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, you don't just get to be CEO of Life O'Reilly every day. Like, you get to be CEO here, but then you got to be dad, and then you got to be husband. You know what I mean? Like, and that is something that, like, I tell you a lot, but like, I respect the shit out of you for, because I've never seen anybody balance that as well as you.
And Chief, you forgot Chief Dog Walker.
And Chief, if anybody that watched your Instagram stories, I assume that went without saying.
No, I really appreciate it. The best thing, the big unlock that I've had was exactly this. It was last Friday. Was just saying it, just getting it out. You know, I talked to a coach, once or twice a month, and even the people that look like they have it all together. Guess what? Nobody's got it all together. None of us have it all together. And I simply find that my wife and I just had this. Actually, she just had the revelation about my stupid gaming clan, my Fortnite over 40. And she asked about it. She's like, oh, I hear you guys giggling and having a good time. And you see the clips. I mean, we have so much fun doing it. But in between those clips, what are we doing? We're checking on each other, making sure that our families are okay. We're checking out and seeing how people's plans are. Like when my buddy went through a career change, like that's where we brainstormed, was on our stream as a team. Like we brainstormed like how one of our guys is wounded. Like we need to pick him up, and how do we do that? So for me, it's that's been a huge unlock, and that's what's so hard for me is I got into a point where I was talking so much. I talk on the phone, and I hate. It's so funny. I hate talking on the phone. I talk on the phone about 5.5 hours a day. That is my job. I do this, but what would happen was my family would come home and I would just like shut down because I didn't want to talk anymore. But I forced myself to talk like your friends that were checking on you at the party. They came over. Are you okay? Oh, yeah. But what they want to hear is, yeah, I'm good because.
Right.
It's like, yeah, I'm good. No, that's the response, right? Nobody ever wants to hear, no, I'm freaking jammed. I got so many great things going on. I got all this stuff happening. It's like, I'm good because of all these fun things. And I think the other thing that I've learned is I've gotten so good, sometimes a little too good at saying no. I've gotten so good at that. Like if I don't want to do something, literally, if I don't want to do something, I don't do it. I don't do it because we're in the people-pleasing business, right? This is what we do for a living. We coach people. We help them communicate. But sometimes the communicators are the ones that need to communicate, and that's the hard part. So for me, it's like when somebody comes up and be like, dude, like, what's going on? I'm not looking great, or is everything all right, or looking a little pasty or whatever. It's like, I'm great because, right. Or I look stressed because all of these good things are happening. I have all these opportunities. So my unsolicited advice would be talk to those people as if they are a client, because sometimes we put them in different pillars. It's like the client pillar. We're here all day, every day. But like when Taven and Paige and Siobhan get home, it's like, yeah, guess what? I put my CEO dad hat on. Like everybody's got to get to swimming. Everybody's got to get to Toggenburg. Everybody's got to get to this, but I'm talking to them the whole time. And then, at 10 o'clock at night, man, toast. That's what it is. But it's treating those conversations the same way we would treat one of these conversations.
Yeah. I think it's weird to have life get to the point where you have to be that intentional about it.
Yep.
Because that was always so normal for so long. And then, like we were talking today, like coming back from a meeting, like my dad called me. My dad was sorry that he called me in the middle of the day. And like, that's a huge like wake up call. Like, fuck, dude, how important do you think you are that your dad, like, like, yep. So it's just, I mean, it's on one hand, it's enlightening to kind of be like, to actually take a step back and be like, okay, how is this affecting everything else out there?
Yep.
And then at the same time, it's kind of like, it's enlightening here too, because like this place has grown to the fact that it requires that much of my attention and my just energy and all that kind of stuff. So it's,
yep.
I don't know. It's an interesting time, man.
What I would say is none of what we do, none of what we sell, none of what we talk about is life and death.
Yep.
None of it.
100%.
None of it. If it all went away and I had to go get a job and go drive to an office in Syracuse and do it at whatever it is that I had to do, I would do it because I would support my family. You do the same thing. If KBL closed, like, and you have 2 employees, like, okay, guys, it's over, just for whatever reason, you would make something happen. So I think for me, that's the perspective is, it's like you said last week, it's like at 8:00, you're starting to shut it down at 8:00. And I think that's a good first step of the self, kind of the self realization. It's like the work that you do between 8 and 10 or 8 and 11 or 8 and 12, sure, it's good work, right. But at what sacrifice? So it's like, put the phone down or, call that person back and be like, you know what, you came up to me at that party last week. I just want to let you know what's going on with me. You took the time to say, dude, you good? And I gave you a quick answer. Here's what's really happening with me. I'm getting crushed with so many good opportunities that sometimes I have a hard time turning it off. And that's a perfectly okay response. And they're gonna be like, oh man, I thought it was the other way. Like, right. I'm so happy for you. Whereas before it was like, I'm kind of worried about Adam. I don't know if he, I don't know if he's doing okay. Maybe his business isn't doing well. That kind of stuff.
I think the other thing that I struggle with that too is that I don't want to say cocky, but confident and stuff that I could be. Like, I don't like talking about our successes a lot. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like bragging about our stuff. So in a weird way, that level of being overwhelmed because of opportunities, like, you almost feel like kind of douchey talking about it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many people that are on the other side of that coin where they're just talking about all the great shit that's not happening. That's
right.
Right? So, like, I think I'm so cognizant of not being that guy that sometimes when there's just like all of this good shit like spinning around up here, like, I don't want to be like, oh yeah, like, oh, you know what I mean? It's just, It's weird. Just on a personal level, it's weird for me to say, yep, there's just too much good stuff going on. Like,
think of it, put yourself in their shoes. Maybe they need to hear it.
You're not wrong.
Maybe they want to hear about, maybe that's why they come up to you, because they know they're going to hear something good. They know they're going to hear something incredible. And be like, so Adam's like, yeah, I just moved into a bigger space and got 100% more clients than we did last year. Just hired more people, just this, and this. Maybe you're the Kickstarter that they need to get their stuff going. Don't look at it. I wouldn't look at it as yourself.
Yeah.
Look at it as them drawing inspiration from you. Maybe that's a kickstart that somebody needs.
It's a decent point.
Because if not, and you go up to Adam and be like, hey man, you all right? Yeah, I'm good. Where before Adam was like, dude, crushing it, doing this. And then all of a sudden it comes back to Adam and goes, how you doing, Adam? Yeah, I'm all right. I'm good. It's like, oh my God, maybe my guy isn't good. So I think if you look at it from their angle, it's all about perspective. That's going back to my original thing was, we can sit here and we could have blown those people up on social media today. I could have blown those people up, but I'm looking at it from their angle. So what I told my clients to do was put yourself in their shoes. Maybe they're looking for an opportunity to figure out that their salespeople are being complete morons trying to sell this package. Let's be the bigger person. Let's show them with the error of their ways, and let's see if they can get better at it. They might click over. This person that is sending those salespeople out, doing this bait and switch sponsorship opportunity, she might go, I had no idea this is the way it was perceived.
Right.
And maybe she clicked. Maybe she does a 180. Probably not, but you never know. So I think for you, it's running that parallel path in case you do get crushed with all this, or continue to get crushed with all these good opportunities. And then it is when somebody is standing in front of you and says, are you good? Yeah, I'm good because of this. And maybe they draw it and they're like, man, that's incredible. That's exactly what I needed, was to hear about somebody else's success.
Yeah, just some level of good news or positivity.
Yeah. Who doesn't want to hear that? I don't think it's selfish at all. I think my opinion is I don't feel though it's selfish in the least. I think success begets success, and people really want to hear that stuff. That's my opinion.
I dig it.
The flip side is, aren't we lucky to even have these conversations? That's the most incredible part about this.
Yeah, that's when like you just kind of stop and like, if that like you go back to perspective, like, fuck man, if that's the biggest problem you have today, you're doing pretty good.
Aren't these things fun? Aren't you glad we started doing these things?
It really is, man. Like it's important because it just in the world that we live in, everything happens so fast and there's so much of it.
Yep.
That you don't stop to have those conversations with yourself sometimes. And even if you do a good job of it 90% of the time,
yep,
like still that 10% where like you literally just have to stop and be like, biggest thing that I'm worried about, February 14th, 2020, is that there's too much good shit happening. And am I concerned with people having me tell them there's too much good shit happening? Which, like, when you say it out loud, going back to like what you said last week, like literally just saying that out loud, you're like, shut the fuck up, you know? Like,
what's the biggest problem today? Too many people are calling me for my services.
Yeah, right? Like,
boy, how obnoxious are you?
Exactly. Like, have a seat, Junior.
Well, you know what it is? This goes back to what the core of this show, this Lunch and Learn that we want to do is continue to build brand, continue to talk about the things that you want to talk about until you become a thought leader or an industry expert or whatever it is. And I get pinged all the time. It's like, can I get your advice on this? Yeah, you can. Yeah. You can. You know, are you going to take it and do it? Probably not. And if you are going to do it, you probably won't do it consistently.
Right.
But if you do it for 5 years, you're going to have the opportunity, like Adam, to say, I am getting crushed with opportunities because I've done this for 5 straight years. Figure out what you want to sell, figure out what you enjoy, figure out what you want to talk about, and simply talk about it on these platforms over and over and over and over for 5 years. Then you're an expert. Then you get to sit here and talk to one of your best friends at noon every single Friday and record it.
And have it be work.
Yeah. I'm sitting at my table in front of my bar, and my dogs are sleeping on the couch. That's what life is right now.
Doesn't suck, man.
All right, my blood pressure's down.
Good. I feel.
That's gonna. I gotta go back and watch. That'll be a fun one to clip. That'll be a really fun one to clip.
I was writing captions for the video in my head.
It's just amazing to me. So, all right, this time next week, my friend.
Cannot wait.
You are really good at what you do, my friend.
Back at you, homie.
Talk to you soon.
Sure.
Later.